Hey listeners, thanks for joining us. Thanks for taking some time out of your day here. Today we're going to be talking about the public safety power shutoffs in California and our Energize campaign here at Simplify Power. Today's presenters, myself, Troy Daniels, Head of Technical Support, and our Simplify IQ Installer Certification Program. We also have with us Dan Sauer. Dan Sauer does Business Development and Market Research. He's the manager there. A little bit on the agenda, just kind of brief overview of what we're going to go over. We're going to talk a little bit about the background of the California Public Safety Power Shutoffs, what they are, what they mean to the consumers, what they mean to the installers. From there, we're going to go into some more specifics, the Simplify, what we actually offer here at Simplify, the Simplify batteries, the Access, the Express, and even our Geni products, some of our smaller plug and play. We're going to end with the more specifics regarding our Energize campaign, specifically related to this PSPS and how to take advantage of that. So on that note, I'm going to hand it off to Dan Sauer here to go over a little bit regarding the PSPS background.
That means a number of your customers are going to be impacted in one way or the other. With that, the high-risk fire areas are only going to spread, meaning we're only going to see more shutoffs of power. As you've likely received yourself, as well as some of your customers, notices from your local public utilities. These notices can not only be found online, but also through links on our website, should you like to learn more specifics related to each utility and what they're open to doing to help you through these times. Typical question that you'll receive a lot is how long will it take before the power is restored? Honestly, it's going to be a huge question mark this year. Sometimes these can last just a few short hours. Other times it'll last quite a few days. Some unfortunate news is that we've already seen this take effect. Power shutoffs have already begun in Northern California and stretching down the coast. Currently, about 22,000 people have already lost power for more than a day. And these power safety power shutoffs are only going to increase in frequency throughout the remainder of this fire season. So with that in mind, we're going to spend a bit of time, Troy, going over the solutions that Simplify is prepared to offer, as well as the discounts associated with those, to ensure that everyone has power through some of these times this fire season. Troy? Up to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Dan. All right, so let's hop into it. What does Simplify offer that can kind of get customers past these shutoffs and really build resilience within their own electrical usage and their homes? So as far as all of our products go, we strive for industry-leading cycle lives, meaning long life batteries, high discharge rates, meaning we can even see these high lifespans when we fully discharge the battery. Industry-leading efficiency. Our lithium iron phosphate batteries are actually 98% efficient, way higher than any lead acid and even higher than most lithium batteries. They're also safe, non-toxic. These batteries can actually be recycled, probably one of the only lithium chemistries that can, and have a really wide operating temperature. So that reduces the integration cost, no cooling systems, things like that. And on that same note, no chance of thermal runaway, which if we're talking about resilience, we're talking about power shutoffs, situations where we really need power. We don't want to be worrying also about any kind of thermal runaway or batteries catching fire. Good news, lithium iron phosphate, which is what we produce all of our products with, has no chance. We also look at the balance of energy and power density and how that's ideal for really any system. And what I mean by that is, through these various products here, we have the ability to really match a solution for every project. So this table kind of takes us through a little bit of the specifics of the products we're about to talk about. So just kind of in line here, the 5 batteries just being our standard batteries, whether it be 12 volt, 24 volt, or 48 volt, and a system built out of that. You also see here the Access. The Access is a bit more of our plug and play solution. still requires some professional installation. It by no means is something a customer would want to handle, would require a professional to install, but a lot of the work's already done. The express unit, again, we're getting even more pre-wired, a little bit more turnkey. This solution actually does need a little bit of pre-installation as far as the initial connections, but the good news is, excuse me, most customers can take advantage of this product, and I'll go into that later of using different outlets and connection points in order to charge and discharge onto critical loads without a really kind of hard to use hardwired in system. Now, very last, we'll talk about the Geni products. These are kind of our emergency kit products. We've got our smaller Gen and our big Geni. So these products are really designed for super easy to use plug and play. No professional needs to install them. They're just good to go right out of the box. All right, so on the right column here, excuse me, on the right column here, you're gonna see kind of a little bit more about the product. With the 5 batteries at the top, really these are designed to match any electrical load and any power demand that's required. This could be used, if designed correctly, for a whole house backup system. The access, on the other hand, is more catered towards maybe a small critical loads panel. You can't put every single load in the house on it when the power goes out, but you can keep those essential loads. It is also NEMA 3R rated, which is a great advantage, meaning this can actually sit outside of the home. The express unit, again, we're looking a little bit less than maybe the essential loads that the access could cover, but we can still cover quite a bit, and we'll kind of go over the runtime charts later on. But it is also NEMA 3R rated. It has wheels, it's movable. This can definitely still charge some kind of essential loads, whether it's a computer, maybe a refrigerator, maybe you need to get some power tools going, lights, whatever it is. And the Geni products, a little bit smaller, but again, still, because it is that lithium iron phosphate chemistry and that high energy density, really easy to use power demands, we can actually use these products to run things like refrigerators, your TV, your lights, whatever it may be, at least briefly. And we'll go over the runtime charts as we go through this presentation. So let's start with the 5 batteries specifically. So these are kind of the staple products here. We have our 2.7 kilowatt hour battery and our 3.5 kilowatt hour battery. These both come in 24 or 48 volts. These are great building blocks. They're small, easy to maneuver, easy to put up. You can build them out in parallel to actually build large systems. So these are really just building blocks that could be scaled up to whatever they need. Now, they each come with an integrated battery management system that does a lot of different protection as well as handles cell balancing. The BMS, battery management system, is actually internal, so the installer doesn't need to worry too much there. So I mentioned, building large systems out with this. A great advantage is the scalability of these batteries. We're just running parallel connections, but unlike maybe a lead acid battery, we're not required to just, maybe 3 or 4 strings. We can parallel these up as many as we want. I've got a great example of that coming up here. And again, whole house backup. For this specific campaign, we're talking about, emergency power, grid tied battery backup. These batteries could be used to build up a whole home backup and never lose any power during these outages. They're also expandable. It's a great thing to add, so they can actually be added on later on. So if you have an older battery system, maybe a few years old, and your power demands grow, maybe you just want to cover more loads on that essential loads panel, you can always add new batteries later. It's a really great advantage. So I mentioned the example of a large-scale system. Believe it or not, this is a home. This is a large home backup. This is 300 kilowatt hours. That's actually 88 total batteries in parallel. So in this case, it's just a great example of how big these backup systems can become if you are looking to kind of get that whole home backup. So for anyone that's maybe a little bit more tech driven, if we're talking about how to design these systems, what they can do. As far as the batteries go, they don't care whether they're DC coupled or AC coupled. So, here we have a great example of a DC coupled system where we are connected to a charge controller and charging the battery before outputting. And here we have a AC coupled system. So basically what we have here is a system where the PV is being inverted already, then into the inverter, then charging the batteries, and again, out to the loads. Great part about either one of these systems is we'd have the connection here. When the grid goes down, a system like this can automatically transfer over and cover those loads without any hiccups. So oftentimes, a big one that comes out is, why would I pick a battery-based system over just a simple grid-tied system? I think for this campaign, it's a bit more obvious, but I think the number one point to talk about here is energy security. Having that backup storage when the grid goes down, and also being able to utilize the grid-tied PV. In a normal grid-tied system, if the power goes out, you lose power, the solar stops working. In these systems, you effectively can bring the PV back online, creating kind of a small grid of your own home, an island. Islanding is kind of what we call it, and keeping energy for a while and really producing your own power. You can also do some more advanced functions when you're not looking at that energy security. So when the grid is up, it's functioning properly, then we can start selling off the battery. We can store that energy for later so that you are self-consuming, and even use things like time of use and peak load shaving. So as far as installing these batteries, I mentioned it a few times now, but I'll say it again, all parallel connections. We have a huge variety of what power electronics, what inverters, what chargers you can pair with. And Simplify is always here to offer system design help, support, whatever it may be, whether sales support, tech support, or even design support, we're always here to help out. Okay, so let's talk about the access solution. We're getting a little bit more plug and play now, a little bit more pre-wired, a little bit more ready to go out of the box. So this does allow for a little bit more ease of installation, not as many wires and things to run, still some, and definitely a professional needs to install this. It comes with our batteries and also an inverter charger built into the unit. It can come DC coupled or AC coupled, so it can be also for new or existing PV. So whether they have a grid-tied array already, or whether they're just starting from scratch, we have every solution there. NEMA 3R I mentioned, this meaning it's outdoor ready. It actually can withstand the climate and sit outside. There's no maintenance. It's still top of the line safety. We have no chance of thermal runaway, no chance of fire, anything like that. And we have various sizes and configurations. I definitely suggest if you're interested in this product, hop onto our website. You can check out the different variations, the different sizes of these pre-wired, pre-built systems. These are all Rule 21 compliant as of now as well, so they are ready to be installed in California. All right, as far as applications go, for this specific campaign, we're talking about grid-tied, battery backup. The Access is a super easy to use design solution. When it comes to this, we're just, even if it's existing PV, we're just adding the Access in. Again, it can be AC coupled or DC coupled. And just like those other systems, we still have this ability right here to automatically disconnect from the grid. It's built into the Access, that transfer switch, and we go into our own kind of self-sustained island. And then when the grid comes back on, we can connect back to the grid. So it's fairly easy as far as installation goes if you are professional. It's outdoor rated, so you might just need to do some mounting, but it is pre-programmed. And there's less building materials. You're not putting parts and pieces together as much as you would kind of with a traditional design. Pre-wired, it's delivered in a crate. It's it comes with the inverter, the charge controllers, some remote electronics, depending on which options you go with. A lot of these are already installed, ready to go. You might just be tying down the batteries, as well as running maybe some AC. in from, let's say, the PV, maybe some AC out to the loads panel, some DC stuff, or even a generator. If you have one of those, this can also support that. Okay, down the chain we go, a little bit more user-friendly, less installation here, the express units. So basically, this is a fuel-free generator alternative. We're eliminating that exhaust and noise pollution that you might see from a generator. Heavy-duty casters, it's mobile, but it's also still NEMA 3R rated, meaning it can sit outside. Comes with some kind of cool connections, and I'll get into using those connections versus hardwiring here and the installation portion. But basically comes with a PV Quick Connect inlet to quickly connect solar panels, an AC inlet to charge from the grid, 4 outlets. These are for pulling directly from the unit onto loads. You could plug a refrigerator directly into the unit, and 2 USB ports for charging things like cell phones or tablets. Does come in 2 variations. The Access comes in a bit more variations, why I didn't mention it, but these ones are pretty straightforward. The Express 24 volt and the Express 48 volt. So the big difference here is going to be the rating, 5.4 kilowatt hours on the 24 volt and 7 kilowatt hours on the 48 volt. If you are hardwiring in the system, if you're an installer and you are using the hardwired connections, the 48 volt version can do 120 to 40 volts AC out. The 24 volt cannot. If you're using the basic plugs, both units are restricted to 120 volts AC, which is plenty sufficient when we're running the loads that we're talking about as far as essential loads. So we have these express runtime charts. These are helpful if you're kind of putting together maybe some customer expectations. Maybe you are the customer, you just want to know how long this is going to last for your home, for your specific products. So you can see here on the right, 48 volt and 24 volt and how long it would run that specific device. So obviously you don't want to run your microwave for 4.5 hours. So you can say, I'm running my microwave for 5 minutes. My refrigerator does run 24/7, so I know I get 36 hours. And you can start to kind of piece together some numbers and understand what it can cover and how long it can last. You'll see something like a window AC unit there at the bottom, a 6,000 BTU. The Express unit, as long as it is 120, can cover some of these higher demand loads. Definitely not a big, centralized AC unit, but it can do some of the smaller stuff, which can be really helpful in a power outage. Okay, as far as installation goes, you can use the pre-wired locations as far as using this outlet here. So 4 outlets, 2 USB. The customer can plug directly into these, cover loads as long as they want until the battery is done discharging. Also using the AC Connect. This actually allows us to charge directly from the grid without a hardwired connection. And the PV disconnect technically can be used pretty straightforward with maybe a mobile PV module or something along those lines. If you are looking to hardwire the unit, you can actually kind of bypass these quick connects, use the knockouts, plug into the charge controller, and actually wire this unit directly into a loads panel, an essential loads panel. So that is always an option, and it's kind of built that way where if you want to maybe charge it up, leave it in the garage until the power is out, roll it out, that's fine, or have it actually fluidly connected to a system so that it all happens automatically. All right, last but not least, we're going to talk about the Geni products. So we have the little Geni and the big Geni here. These are portable emergency power for things like wildfire disaster evacuations, maybe something related to that, or really any sort of mobile power that you may need in an emergency situation, maybe while you're sheltering in place, things like that. These products are awesome when we're talking about adding this product as a value add to resell. So there's no installation required. It's super easy to use. As far as selling the products as an upsell or promotional opportunity, that's a great idea. Maybe we're looking at adding this product into a system that we're selling to a customer as kind of a little add-on. but they do provide reliable and personal power. It's still the same lithium iron phosphate chemistry, and we still stand behind this product as efficient and able to withstand those deep depths of discharge as well as those high power demands. However, we do want to look at kind of realistically what we're going to get out of it. So we use the Geni runtime charts. You can see here I've taken out the 6,000 BTU air conditioner. This would probably be a little bit too small to run something like that efficiently for too long, but we can still run things like lighting, laptops, tablets, TVs, refrigerators. That's a big one. If you're, without power, you need to keep that refrigerator live. Charge your cell phone, various things like that. So definitely, whether it's the little Geni or the big Geni, there's some serious advantages to what you can run using these pretty small units. Lightweight, easy to move. All right, and with that, I'm going to hand it over to Dan Sauer, and he's going to bring us through a little bit more on the actual Energize campaign that Simplify Power is running.
All right, thank you, Troy. So the Energize California Power Safety Power Shutoff Pricing and Supply Program is going to be special offers valid through June all the way to the end of September. Through the promotional period, discounts will be available through our California distribution partners seen here on this slide, specifically for California installers. Additionally, drop shipments to your job site from our factory or even will call pickup is available. So please be sure to mention Energize California and provide proof of California customer location to receive the special pricing. With that in mind, also feel free to visit our special landing pages on the Simplify website for information you can share with your customers at any time. All things considered today, we learned about some of the products, some of the features, and obviously the special pricing so that we can ensure everyone has the availability to install all these great products and ensure that they really have all their power needs during these planned and inevitable power safety power shutoffs from the utilities this year. So thank you for your time, and we appreciate you doing business with us.
Thank you, everyone.